Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome back to a North America Pack DLC showcase in Planet Zoo. Today's time-lapse is a relatively simple one as far as structural complexity and, visual variety is concerned, but I think you'll find that it remains somewhat amazing. More on that in a moment. Really quickly, I do check to make sure that guests are actually able to enter the habitat of the animal we're adding today, the prairie dog, because it's a crucial element of the enclosure itself. The thing is, at first I was going to build sort of an underground viewing gallery where you'd be looking up at the animal, and then I realized, well, the prairie dogs like to burrow, and so that would be a little unfortunate. It'd also be a little strange because they'd spend most of their time on glass and stuff. If you're looking up at them from underneath, of course, the ceiling of where you're walking around would be made of glass, and if you're able to look at the animal, then there's no soil or anything between that glass and the animal's feet, right? So that felt a little awkward and a little too artificial for me, so I did away with that. The other option was to go above the enclosure and build a path network above the enclosure, but I realized that would look kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It would look very heavy. Can't think of a better word, but the raised paths always have a very solid and heavy look to them, and I didn't quite like that compared to what I wanted to actually execute. What I wanted to do, what I was hoping for, was if we go with over the top pathing, I was hoping to make glass paths, like glass flooring that guests would be able to look down from. So at least the animal is able to burrow and things like that still, but guests are able to walk over top of the animal and look around. But glass paths are obviously not a thing, so that option went out the window as well. So ultimately, I went with the only other option for this idea, at least, and that's sticking to the ground level. So rather than go underground or above ground, we're sticking to the ground level, and we are building, you might be able to tell, a maze. Am I disappointed in myself for making that pun earlier? No, not at all. Am I proud of myself for making that pun earlier? Also not at all. But I couldn't help myself. So why a maze? Well, here's where the stretching starts. Get ready to limber up, I guess. But so the prairie dog, I did a lot of research and I wasn't really getting too many solid hits on folklore or traditions or those kinds of concepts around the prairie dog. So I was just curious to find whatever I could to maybe get inspired by. And there were a couple of things that I thought were that they were out there. They were very surface level, not deep stories of the Thunderbird, for example, where there was a lot to talk about, but very surface level stuff. And what I learned was that among some indigenous tribes, the prairie dog was seen as a symbol of maize. And I thought, all right, look, I can't resist a pun. We're going to run with this one. And I figured we'd make a maze. So yes, the actual pieces we're using aren't maize, but that's where the theater of the mind kicks in, where we can suspend our disbelief a little bit, and we can imagine that this is a, yes, maze for our prairie dog. Again, inspired by the fact that among some indigenous tribes, the prairie dog is seen as the symbol of maize. I mean, there's really not much more to go on there. Now, the funny thing is that in Canada, we have a massive tract of land which is, well, it's the prairies, and I was like, okay, this will work as well because I'm sure corn is actually a major Canadian export, and I was like, well, surely we grow corn in the prairies. Of course, that just makes sense. It turns out that the majority of corn farming and stuff happens in Ontario, which was a surprise to me. I know we have a lot of farming in Ontario. Ontario like, look, every Canadian province is absolutely massive, and every Canadian province has a lot of variety of things they get up to. So I'm not surprised that Ontario has corn farming. I'm surprised that it's one of the provinces with the most corn farming. In fact, the provinces like the prairies and all are like very low as far as the ladder of corn production is concerned. I learned quite a bit about corn production in Canada as I was doing research for today's Enclosure. But anyway, that's all besides the point. I thought it'd be nice to make this maze. I thought it'd be a very interesting and different kind of structure. We've never done anything like this. I hope we see guests coming through and walking through. I try to I try to not give too many landmarks or anything like that so that it does play as a bit of a maze, I suppose. But at the same time, I do have to take into consideration things like hard shelter. And again, if you know me, you know that I'm not going to do it small. I do want to make some structures and things like that. So I've got this little central canopy thing. I thought that works nicely. It's in the center, so it's not like it's right next to the exit. You can't like, jump over the top of the maze with a couple of hops and see where you're supposed to go. Put a couple tree downs. Wow. Put a couple trees down. Adding an S to the wrong word there. And again, just you could see the little walkthrough I did very quickly just to make sure that the trees weren't easily visible when you're at eye level, and they're not, so that's good. And again, of course, putting down a couple of like spots to eat and toys to play with and things like that across the board so that the prairie dog is encouraged to move around. Now, you're going to see after this time lapse a very interesting turn of events on that note. They don't seem to be very active animals. Maybe it's just because of the enclosure, but they don't seem to be extremely mobile or active animals, and I am curious about how this enclosure actually ends up working out for them. I do hope it works out well for them because I had a lot of fun making it. I don't know if you noticed, but in the middle there is an EZ representing Elite Zoo. That's actually the solution to the maze. If you're able to follow the E and the Z, you get out of the maze. Like I said, keeping it, or at least I think I said, I wanted to keep it relatively simple. But I had fun with that. I had fun, actually, like, again, I say this after the time lapse as well, but it bears repeating or pre-repeating or pre-peating, whatever you want to call it. I was pretty hard on myself when it was done. I was kind of like, it's not really all that interesting from up on high. But once you get down low and you actually walk through it and you spend some time at eye level, I actually really quite like it. I'm very pleased with how it looks, and the grass and everything looks amazing. You can see here, I'm just like, oh man, it looks a little too plain. Get it? Plain? Oh my god, that one was an accident, but I'm embracing it nonetheless. I was worried. I was like, it looks a little plain. Maybe I should make some like gourds or something, because again, you think about farming, you think about harvest season. It is October and all that, but I couldn't really get the shapes right. And I add these little waterfall items because I thought they'd be fun for the purposes of the maze, and I realized, why don't we go ahead and add like some benches and stuff, and these are really beautiful benches, and they again, like, I really like this space. I was being a little hard on myself looking at it from up on high, but down low it really does look quite nice, and it looks like a pleasant experience as well, so very different from anything else we've made, and I think it stands out in its own sort of a way. But that pretty much does it for this time lapse. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's very different from anything else we've done, so leave your thoughts down below as we go back to regular speed. Alright folks, we are back from the time lapse, and I'm sure things got real corny with the puns. Guaranteed, there's no way I avoided them, but I do hope you enjoyed the overall process. Compared to some of the other spaces we've built, this one is maybe... I don't know, I have a hard time like putting my finger on exactly how I would describe it. Like, it's not as... complex, maybe, like there's not as much going on, and it feels like, it's a bunch of the same piece and things like that. Like, there is that element to it, but there's an interactive element to it that I really quite enjoyed. You probably noticed I did take a peek at Zoopedia this time around. I wanted to make sure, I was fairly certain, but I wanted to make 100% sure that humans can enter the prairie dog enclosure, and they can. So that feels like I need to make sure that was the case before I built an entire, maze enclosure. I mean, there's no two ways about it, right? So I'm glad I checked. I'm glad I had it right in my head as well. But the technical aspect, or rather the what should I call it? The engagement aspect of it is unique for this enclosure. But beyond that as well, again, from up top, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a maze. I'm pretty pleased with it, actually. It looks decent. I wouldn't mind making it even more complex, but I figured let's be reasonable here. But once you get down, I think it looks quite beautiful. Like quite serene and just got some good vibes to it. I was a little worried because I was like looking at it from up top and I was like, it's kind of, I don't know. It looks fine, but from down low, how's it going to look? And then I started doing a couple of walkthroughs, as you may have noticed, and I really actually quite like it. And this is one of the only times I'd say that the tall grass actually looks good. Normally I hate how the tall grass looks, right? But over here, this looks perfect. I mean, yeah, I'm really quite pleased with how this space looks. We have a couple of spots here and there where I didn't necessarily evidently get as far over the line as I needed to. You might catch me repair those every once in a while. But overall, I'm quite pleased with this space. I am quite pleased with this space. And I mean, it's not a very complicated maze or anything. I wanted to keep it relatively simple, right? Thinking about the youngest kids that might be running through this maze with or without parental supervision. Don't want any incidents, of course. But folks, enough talk about this maze, enough talk about this enclosure. Let's talk about the animal that will be enclosed within. How cute is the black-tailed prairie dog? This is such a great DLC. In terms of cuteness factor, it's such a great DLC. Such a great DLC. But folks, yes, let's discuss the prairie dog. Then we'll go ahead and pop them in, see them interact, maybe even get a couple babies. And I will also try and keep in mind that we should check for moose babies. It was brought up in the comments that I don't think we've seen moose babies, and I think you're right. I don't think we have seen moose babies yet. So we'll go ahead and check in on them. And that reminds me, a comment from a prior episode was that our male moose might actually be infertile. English, man. What a language. But yeah, so we'll look into that. We'll look into that afterwards, though. So the black-tailed prairie dog is the Cynomys ludovicanus. That's especially difficult for me because I won't say it, but within those words is the name of somebody I have known through high school and stuff. So it's very difficult for me to separate it from that person's name. Anyway, least concern population in wild is unknown. The black-tailed prairie dog is a species of rodent that lives in the prairies, grasslands, semi-deserts, and steppes of the USA, as well as small areas of Canada and Mexico. The black-tailed prairie dog has sandy-colored fur with paler coloration on the underside. They have long claws, small ears, black eyes, and a black-tipped tail. Males are slightly larger than females, but otherwise they are the same in appearance. Black-tailed prairie dogs weigh between 1.5 and 3 pounds, have a head body length of 14 to 17.2 inches, and a tail length of 3 to 4 inches. The black-tailed prairie dog is not an endangered species and is abundant across their range. I will say, across the board, now that we've seen, I think we're past the halfway mark of animals in this DLC pack, I just feel like these introductory paragraphs have been a little less dense than some of the older animals, if I, at random, let's see, the Arctic wolf, it feels like there's a bit more here. We talk about what they are. Well, first of all, none of these guys from this new DLC have the scientific name included in the paragraph, which is, it's not a big deal, but it's just an inconsistency, and it's just a consistency thing. But there's just more meat to the actual description here as well. It's just not endangered. We talk about history. Now, not every animal has everything to talk about, but every animal has something to talk about, right? And it's not like these are generic, right? It's not like, oh, paragraph 1 is X, paragraph 2 is Y, paragraph 3 is Z, and we're going to have that exact same structure across the board. Everything has its own treatment. But I just feel like oh god, let's get that off the screen. I know a lot of people who are watching have arachnophobia and stuff, and I do try to stay cognizant of that. Where is the boa constrictor? Is snake phobia a thing? What would that be called? I don't know. But like these guys have always had smaller paragraphs, you know. So it feels, I don't know, feels like a bit of a bummer. Even some of the DLC animals have had a bit more detail. What about the American bullfrog? The American bullfrog. This is ironic. It's like the flip side. The American bullfrog has more details than. Anyway, sorry. Enough of a distraction. Let's go back to our black-tailed prairie dog. It just feels a bit of a bummer because I'm sure there's much more to talk about, and it's we just don't. Natural habitat. You can see it's actually a fairly contained region. It looks like a moon, like a crescent moon, and also has like a little face going on over here. You can see the nose there, a little mouth down there. It's like a cartoon face, obviously. I'm also seeing like an Elvis going on over here. Like there's the nose, there's the chin, and there's like the quaff, as it were. Oh, okay. I'm seeing a lot of shapes. Anyway, what are we looking at here? Grassland. Okay, thank God. I was a little worried. I was like, okay, they're called prairie dogs. Surely they'll be okay with grassland biomes. And yes, I was right. And desert biomes as well, of course. So, fair enough. North America. Can't you say Mexico? We have plenty of space. That's not going to be a problem. And the climate's going to be perfectly fine as well. Species data. Group size, excluding juveniles, is 2 to 12, up to 1 male, up to 11 females. I had a feeling they could get pretty sizable. That's why I gave them a fair bit of space. They can run around and all that stuff. Male bachelor group size is 2. Female bachelor group size is 2 to 12. Dominance is 1 dominant male per harem. Just going to pause a moment for the mourning of the word harem. Mating system is polygynous. Relation with humans is neutral, but guests can, yes, again, enter the habitat. Size, on average for males, is 15.6 inches long. For females is 14.6 inches. Life expectancy across the board is 7 years on average. And weight is 2.2 pounds on average across the board as well. Sexual maturity is at 2 years. Sterility is at death. Number of offspring per mating event is 2 to 4. Gestation or incubation period is 2 months. Interbirth is 12. And reproduction in captivity is average. I mean, I think we're almost guaranteed to see a couple of baby prairie dogs. I would imagine so. Social needs. Black-tailed prairie dogs are social animals that live in large towns in the wild that may contain thousands of individuals. Towns are made up of multiple coteries. A coterie consists of a dominant male, 3 to 4 adult females, their young pups, and yearling juveniles. Why are they called towns? Why town? That's a very specific word. You know, we don't say like, yeah, why towns? I'm curious. Reproduction. In a harem, there will be one unrelated dominant adult male and several adult females that may be interrelated. The adult females will have one fertile day during the 3-month mating season, during which the male will mate with her. The male may mate with all the females in the harem, but only 50% of the females will successfully raise a litter in any given year. When a female is receptive, she may begin gathering nesting materials and vocalize to the male at the entrance of the burrow. Copulation takes place underground. After a pregnancy of 33 to 38 days, the female will give birth underground to a litter of 3 to 5 pups on average, although 1 to 8 pups are possible. Pups do not open their eyes until 30 days after birth. They remain nursing underground for the first 7 weeks of their life. Pups are weaned very soon after they first emerge from the burrow and start eating grasses. Females within the group all help care for the young. The dominant male does not directly care for young, but protects his coterie from invading males that may kill pups. Oh, geez. You know, you look at something adorable, and a lot of the time you go like, they're not a violent creature, but then you realize, oh, no. Oh, they're out there killing babies. Fair enough. Females often remain with their natal group their entire life, but males will leave their natal group as they approach sexual maturity, usually at 12 to 15 months old. Males will attempt to create their own territory and earn their own harem when they leave their natal group. This may happen in 2 ways. Okay, I was like, don't leave me hanging. I want to know how that happens. So I'm glad there's a follow-up. Firstly, as coteries get too big, young females leave their natal group and search for an unattached male. Secondly, a young male may challenge the alpha male of another group. If the male wins, he will inherit the harem. Older males may also leave their coterie as they become related to more and more of the females in the group as their daughters reach sexual maturity, or if they're ousted by a younger, fitter male. Pretty interesting. It's like familiar to like some other animals, but it's got its own kind of twists and turns, I guess. Pretty interesting. I know nothing about prairie dogs apart from roughly where they reside, given their name, and and how cute they are. I mean, was it Cynomus? I forget. There was something about, I feel like I used to know this a long time ago, and it's a very fuzzy memory now, but I think, I believe this first word here is like a reference to dog mouse or mouse dog or something like that. I cannot remember for the life of me right now, but something like that. Anyway, I'm getting distracted by things I'm uncertain about over to things I am certain about, and that is the research status over here. The tunnel that the meerkats use are also available to the black-tailed prairie dog, which is nice, but otherwise, again, it's all your usual stuff. In fact, they only have the one food enrichment as well. It's okay. Fun fact number 1, prairie dogs are a member of the squirrel family. All right, pretty fun. Fun fact number 2, black-tailed prairie dogs are very sensitive to low sound frequencies. This adaptation allows them to hear when predators move through their burrows. That is cool. I wish, I can always look it up. Like I always say, right, a good fun fact leaves you with some questions to look up afterwards, and this is one of those. I wonder how low those low sound frequencies are, because, there's obviously a limit. I don't imagine they can hear, like, I imagine the reference is the reference point is humans, right? Like they're hearing, I imagine is probably it probably goes like lower than human hearing frequencies. Or is it like limited and they just hear it more crisply? Because like human hearing, oh god, I should remember this. I think it's like 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz is our overall range, but like it depends on your age and stuff. It does change as you age. Like that's why they use those mosquitoes, I think they're called, little sound emitting devices that emit a sound at a specific frequency. I think it's called a mosquito. It might be called something else. It emits a sound at a specific frequency that you can kind of hear when you're like a teenager, but as you get older, you can't hear it. So it can be used to like keep people moving, basically. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted by other things that fascinate me, but I'm curious if the black-tailed prairie dog's hearing goes lower than human hearing, or if it's just saying that it's particularly sensitive to those low frequencies. I assume it means it goes lower than our lowest, but I'm also still curious about just how low it does get. But I can imagine you can kind of like hear the rumbling, basically, of an animal moving through your burrow, and that rumbling would like shift through the soil, and then you're able to kind of like respond accordingly. That's interesting. Fun fact number 3, although not an endangered species, the range of the black-tailed prairie dog is now just 5% of what it used to be due to humans changing land use and encroaching upon the prairie dog's habitat. See, okay, so this is a good example of like, before this DLC, that little fact would have been here. It would have been here. Though, like, though the black-tailed prairie dog is not endangered, its current range, like, it would literally fit right here. You know what I mean? And it would make more sense to have it here, because if you're designing your zoo, you'd be like, oh, okay, I should include the education board that talks about, land use. But by hiding it behind a fun fact, you gotta, in franchise mode and stuff, you gotta actually unlock it first, and then you go, oh wow, I didn't even know this was a problem for the prairie dog. So yeah, little weird things like that with this DLC. I don't know, maybe someone else is in charge now, maybe they decided to take a different tack or a different approach. I'm just curious. I liked when this had more information. I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like this could use more information, and that way you have more, like, fun fact number 3 would have been something else, so we'd have more fun facts, right? More facts in general. Fun fact number 4, prairie dogs call to their pack mates to communicate details about nearby predators, such as the predator's size, distance away, and whether they are above or underground. That is very cool. There's very complex layers of communication. And fun fact number 5, black-tailed prairie dogs are a keystone species, as they reconstruct environments with the amount of digging they do. This enhances the diversity of wildlife and vegetation and is a very important ecosystem role. That is very fascinating. Never in a million years would I have assumed that the prairie dog is a keystone species. Yes, life's full of surprises. A keystone species, by the way, just to make sure we're all on the same page, my definition might be a little bit fuzzy, so never hesitate to double check. But a keystone species is like crucial to an ecosystem. Like without the keystone species, an ecosystem would fall apart or would be drastically different. It's a reference, of course, to like the keystone in an arch, without which the arch would fall. But yeah, I would never assume that this tiny little critter would be that important to its ecosystem. But that's how it works sometimes. That's how it works sometimes. Interspecies enrichment. Oh, hey, they get along with the American bison. Oh man, we could actually really easily add these guys into Elite Zoo North because we have we have an American bison enclosure there. Maybe. We'll that's a conversation for another time. Let's go ahead. Grab some from the market. Upipahati. Go ahead and pick you up. I mean, we got the... Might as well, right? One male. Go ahead and grab a couple of females. And over to the trade center. Go ahead and move all of you to this habitat. That musical little bit came in at the perfect time. All right, while we're waiting for buddies to arrive, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the moose? It looks like yeah, 1% fertility. He's not incapable of having babies, but yeah, still nothing. Still nothing. I do believe we witnessed a failed attempt at mating. It'd be a shame to let Yule go. Let's give him like one more session, right? Let's give him like one more session. I grow a silly attachment to our little pixel animals sometimes. I know, but I can't help myself. Oh, look at these guys. While we're waiting for the prairie dogs to arrive. Oh, come on. Come on! One day we'll see it happen. One day we'll see it happen. Just knock that right over. Buddy is starving. A little tail wag. They are so cute. The guy's rushing over here. Their cry is very interesting. Very interesting. Oh my god, I forgot how trash these guests can be. Animals, man, animals. Do we have bins anywhere? Oh, these guys are a little adventurous, aren't they? Oh, that's how. I was like, how'd you get up over here? That is quite the jump. Fair enough. As long as they make their way back. Alright, here we go. Buddy's coming through. Hopefully, hopefully this enclosure works as intended. Say a prayer, I suppose. Or perhaps a prayeree. Oh my god. Oh my god. It fits under the curb. Like, it fits under this little, like, oh my god. Yeah, they definitely look like they're, you know, a squirrel. I see the relation. Oh god. Horrifying. Nightmare fuel. Oh. Okay, can you not, like, reach anywhere? Are you stuck here? Take a look at the habitat. Now it looks like they're good. Yeah, good stuff. They're trying to figure the maze out. They're trying to figure the maze out. Fair enough. Terrain is okay. We could use some more short grass. Damn. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. And yeah, I knew I'd be overboard with coverage, but that was a risk I was willing to take. Just to try something a little different over here. Alright, let's go ahead and reduce some of the long grass, I guess. Dang, that's too bad. That is too bad. I'm over here. I'm over here, sure. Go ahead and reduce you. Guess I just leave long grass along the correct path. That won't make it obvious at all. Go and get rid of you. I mean, they're fine with the terrain as is. It's still a little too much long grass, but they're fine with the terrain as is. So I suppose there's that. Maybe I'll go in and change it some more afterwards. But it does look like they're stuck, doesn't it? It says they can move. Okay, let me try something here. Just to check. Like, are they gonna stay there? Don't only like bugged out or something, you know? They're very cute. Oh, oh, there we go. Finally, that was really weird. That took a very long time for them to start moving. Well, right off the bat. Yes. Where are we coming out from? Oh, I hear it. Where'd you go? Dang, I lost it. There he is. Oh, they're so cute. And very similar to the meerkat animations. And I imagine when they got the meerkat working, they're like, alright, cool. That opens up a slew of new animals we can add in. Love the worm's eye view angle on tiny animals. It just makes them look so much bigger. Look at that nose. Look at those like subtle animations, you know? Like, it's really impressive. Like, it's really impressive. Don't think we spend enough time really appreciating how good these animations are. Not easy doing this kind of stuff. How you doing, buddy? I knew it! I was gonna ask. I was like, are you sitting down or are you pooping? I knew it. I knew it. I'm hoping eventually we get up to like 12 of these little guys, right? And the space will be a lot more crowded. See, the maze has you chasing not just the exit, but also the animal. That'd be nice on a summer day to have these options, both for the animal and for the people. Oh, hey, hello, hi. How did you? Oh yeah, this is where we started. They're not doing much, are they? Very, very inactive. Very inactive. Is it because, I mean, they have room to run. There's plenty of room. Are they just terrified because they don't know what's peeking around the corner? It's not like the AI actually thinks that way. Where's the one guy that actually made some progress? Where'd you go, buddy? Where'd you go? Oh my god, this maze is too big. Why did I do this? I mean, we know there's a couple of spots where they have to go for like food and all that kind of stuff. Animals. Wish it wouldn't change the screen every time you try to zoom in on an animal. I wish there was a difference between clicking on the location and the actual name or any other part of this. Would make this a lot more convenient. Oh, there she is. Just taking a seat, are we? It's amazing. So cute. Are you? Of course you are. God damn it. Every time, every time. Every time. It's such a funny look. Do so many animals really sit down like this? It's been many more than I'd ever anticipate that sit down like this. I feel like it's the same. It's like a similar animation set to the meerkat, like a lot of the animations, a lot of the twitchiness and stuff. It kind of like makes you wonder what the technical aspects of some of this work is, like how they actually set it up that way to make it easier. Because, you know, like, it makes sense to reuse similar animations. Like, you don't want to reinvent the wheel every time. That's how things get more complex, is by not reinventing the wheel every time. You can explore more and more options with every new animal, right? So I'm curious actually how that works. They do look cute though, but they're very static. I wonder if that's how they always are, or if it's because of the enclosure. I think the enclosure is probably pretty safe in terms of like functionality and stuff. The only problem with the enclosure is that there are no guests in it. Maybe I should add like a washroom or something somewhere over here. These guys are like willing to come up to here, but they're not willing to go much further. It is nice to see guests coming up over here, though. I think it's just a matter of time before they make their way over. You know what I should do, maybe? I should maybe take a look at animal trading. Animal market. Adopt more of these females. We can have up to, what, 12, right? Larger number. More movement, more likelihood of mating happening and stuff like that. So, we'll see what that does for us. Man, these guys are still here. How are you still here? Are you not bored of this one location? No, he's shaking his head. Oh, perfectly happy. This guy as well. Just like hanging tight over here. Come on. Oh. Come on. I get the camera at like the perfect spot. There's a rap album cover here somewhere. Nah, I can't get the camera where I need it to be. Alright, fair enough. I mean, these guys are really not doing anything. What do you guys think? You think it's the enclosure? Again, like when we take a look at their habitat, right? Like they've got plenty of room. Oh, actually, hang on. Has no welfare requirement. Oh, right, it's because we of our settings, I guess. But even despite that, because it was sandbox, right? Like there's plenty of room, lots of room to run around and have a good time. Don't think it's that. I think they're just I don't know. I don't know what to say. Barely moving. Well, we have the other one that's decided to make some progress with the maze. Eventually I'll find her again. Surely they'll make their way over when there's food. You know what, actually? See if we can't get that food to come quickly. It's not that far away. But eventually they'll be thirsty as well, right? So... a couple more new arrivals. Gonna hang tight over here as well, or are you gonna get a move on right away? Come on. Guys, being real sneaky. I'm hoping they'll deliver some food and then we can see a bit of movement. But that doesn't seem to be happening right now. I don't know, that's really weird. Yeah, bit unfortunate actually. And we got to see some cuteness, which is all good, but I've never seen behavior quite like this. Oh, more movement. Okay, there we go. One's gone missing. Where you headed? Digging a new hole? Staring into the grass? So strange. I have no idea what to say. Yeah, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. How are the moose doing over here? I'm assuming no luck. Oh, what do you know? What do you know? Like we're gonna have a baby moose. Good stuff. December of this year. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Oh god, no, stop, stop. That was unpleasant. that was just unpleasant. Alright. Still just chilling here. Alright, you know what, folks? I think we'll see these. I'm glad I got these guys sooner, because at this rate, I feel like it'll be quite a bit longer before they actually do start to mate and bring us some baby prairie dogs. So I'm glad I got them sooner rather than later. Fortunately, we're going to see a baby moose real soon. And apart from that, there's a few more animals to add. And again, like I was saying, as we do that, I'm sure we'll see many more baby come through. I really hope so. I really hope so. Let me know what animal you would like to see added next down below in the comments. But folks, this is where we're going to go ahead and call it a session. This zoo has really expanded quite a bit. It was supposed to just be this tiny little thing for the aquatic DLC. But I'm glad y'all enjoyed the... sorry, this would be that first DLC, right? I'm glad you guys enjoyed the format here. And then lo and behold, we've got some really fun shapes and really fun exploration and stuff going on. Very different from our franchise mode playthroughs, which I've also enjoyed, but they're very different. And that to me that's something special. I'm glad we did this. But folks, yes, next time we'll go ahead and add yet another animal. There are a couple more to go. I hope you've been enjoying it. If you have, you know what to do. Let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. As always, it makes a massive difference in how I approach content on the channel, what I do, what I don't do. Again, y'all know the drill by now. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.